Okay, Bill, without any further ado, I'm going to turn the call over to you, and we're all excited to learn more about the Mantel Mount product.
Well, thank you, Rick, and we at Mantel Mount are very excited to be engaged with AllNet, as well as the three distributors that you mentioned who are part of Snap AV now and have been Mantel Mount distributors for a time. So good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on time zone. We're over here in Lost Wages at the Builders Show. It's our first time doing the Builders Show, but I'm in our hotel room and will join my team shortly. The deck is quite a few slides, but we'll go through it pretty quickly. Happy to catch all the questions at the end. I think it's pretty straightforward and hopefully clear, but certainly the worst question is the one that's never asked. So feel free to ask anything that's on your mind. We're going to just go through some fairly basic stuff about the company. And then the business case, why Mantel Mount is relevant to dealers that your customers will go through the product portfolio, which is small, admittedly, the accessories and accessories that support the product. I'm going to talk about some things that are really helpful to distributors and things you can do for your dealers that we support, and look forward to entertaining your questions as we go forward. Our most recent addition to our product portfolio is the automated motorized mount, which won the Mark of Excellence Award at CES here in Vegas just 2 weeks ago. So I'll be covering that with some detail. All right, here we go. There we go. So at the end of the day, the way this business started, a mechanical engineer who's part owner of the company, his name is Brian Newville, had a wife, the boss of the house, who wanted the TV above the fireplace, and he tried to explain it would be too high from a viewing angle standpoint, but of course, being the good husband he is, he put it where it was supposed to be, and lo and behold, she didn't like the viewing angle. So he went out in the garage and fashioned his first mantel mount. Neighbors liked it, so he made about 6 more for the neighbors. Then he did the Kickstarter campaign. This is all in 2015. And then we started a direct consumer business that's thriving to this day. We started our wholesale efforts in 2016. And on the call is some folks from Volutone who were, I think, one of our very first distributors, MRI and Custom Plus, certainly in the first grouping of distributors as well. So, my history is long in the tooth, gray in the hair retailer. Many years at Circuit City, Tweeter, Good Guys. I didn't bankrupt them by myself, but I certainly remember with great clarity telling customers not to put the TV above the fireplace. And now with Mantel Mount, we can say yes and make more money doing so. It's about 131,000 homes in the United States, and I'm here at the Builders Show, and the stat here now is the valuation of United States homes as a roll-up is $75 trillion. About 35% of those homes have a fireplace, but our Mantel Mount is good for other high mount applications. We sell to schools and in the commercial world as well. We'll get into that later. So again, it's Mantel Mount is the brand name, but it's really any high mount placement where bringing down the TV is helpful for the use case. What's happening, I don't have to tell you this, but mount prices overall are declining. Now, obviously in the Cedia channel, we are a little bit more upstream than national pricing, but with Costco selling Sanus mounts, anywhere from $69 to $99, and overall mounts in all are down to an average retail of $63. Meantime, Mantel Mount with our UMAP pricing and additions to our product portfolio, our prices are actually going up. So at the end of the day, what's in it for the dealer is more gross profit dollars and of course yourselves. We do have, as I said before, a direct to consumer line. It's just 2 SKUs, lighter steel, mostly for lighter TVs, not a lot of margin in a dealer program. And we certainly recommend, and our product mix sales on the wholesale side, the channel that I manage at Mantel Mount, starts with the 700 and up, where it's a full margin program for the dealers. But we do get dealers who get called by customers wanting to buy one of the consumer mounts, or they've already bought it and they want to install it. And certainly we're happy to sell it to you and let you pass through the dealers. They just won't make as much money on those 2 SKUs. So this is the entire Mount product portfolio, all 5 SKUs. And as I said before, the consumer series are the 340 and 540. And then the Pro series starts at the 700 with a UMAP of $499, full margin for the dealers. 750. The 750 is got it's for bigger TVs, heavier loads. Our mounts also support a sound bar. We have a sound bar attachment in the mounts, and also the ability to add separates. But the total weight load is, of course, the driving force of mount selection. And as you go up the food chain, we handle more weight. This is not the best viewable thing, but you'll get this as a backup in both. Will send you both hard copies and soft copies of this collateral that talks about the line card. But the image to the left is the sort of recommended weight and mount selection accordingly. We have both a specification weight, which is a wider range than our optimal performance range. So we show both. So if you'll look here on the right, the line card, you'll see the recommended TV weight and TV sizes in the first 2 lines. And as you drop down to the specifications, you'll see TV weight with a wider range. The difference is, as you move the TV mount down on the pull down mounts, ideally it should stop anywhere along the travel route. And if you stay within those recommended weights, it will do exactly that. If you go on the higher side of the specification of weights, meaning that you load the mount higher with more weight beyond the recommended range, what will happen is when it gets to 90 degrees, the mount will want to drop all the way down to its furthest point. And so that's not, it works, and it's not going to fall off the wall, and there's no safety concerns. It's just a matter of not optimal performance. So that's how one of the ways you can convince customers to go to the Pro Series. From a specification standpoint, these are the sort of the fast strokes: heavier metal, heavier gauge, stronger struts. In the case of the 750, there's 4 struts instead of 2 in the 700, 540, and 340. These are the things that are the selling points across the SKUs. So the 750 and the automatic 860 both will handle 125, 130 pounds. 700 will go up to 115, but it's best at 90 pounds. And the 540 and 340 are really in the 50 to 60 pound range from an optimal performance standpoint. This is the Pro Series lineup. This is the SKUs that most of our distributors bring in stock. It starts with a 700, which can be both surface mounted and recess mounted, but the recess kit for the 700 is an accessory with an additional cost. The 750 has the recess box included. In fact, it's welded in. And surprisingly enough, about 10% of consumers are surface mounting that. So we have a dressing kit for those flanges. And then the 860, as I said, we launched this in August. Very exciting. It's been very well received. We won Product of the Year at Cedia. We just won the Mark of Excellence Award at CES. And we've sold about 400 units in the field. It's being very well received, and certainly has the man cave wow factor. The difference between the 540, which is a consumer series mount, and a 700 mount are basically these things. As I said before, weight ranges, steel gauge use in the build of materials. The 540 will work with the recess box, but it requires an additional accessory. And then interesting enough, the 700 is actually a half-hour easier install. The 540, you have to assemble it on the floor, and then you mount the entire structure up on the wall. The 700 mounts much like a very traditional mount, where you put the wall plate up and then you hang the arm. The 700, the 750s, you go up the food chain again, more weight capacity, driven mostly by the doubling of the gas struts. So more resistance, more tension ability to manage the heavier weight for the larger TVs, and especially if you're adding audio components. A couple things about the mounts: because there's an arm that goes up and down, and it requires a certain amount of weight to bring it down, meaning when you try to pull down the arm during install, you have to pull with quite a tug. There's a safety pin on the 700 and the 540 and the 340 that hold the mount in place in the lower position so that you can mount the TV. So it can be a one-man job. The 750 have catches, as shown in this illustration to the right. Both do the same thing. They keep the arm down so that the TV can be mounted during installation. All of the movements of the mounts, whether you're talking of swivel or downward travel, can all be customized. So let's say that you have a mantle that comes out 12 inches. You don't necessarily want a 30-degree swivel to swivel range of motion. So there's a little Allen wrench adjustment where you can dial that all the way down to no swivel at all to match the circumstance. The same thing is true of the downward travel. On the 860, the motorized mount, there are both hard stops like the other line has, as well as soft stops in the software programming you can adjust. One of the things that the installer should do before they leave the house is to, of course, customize those movements to meet the needs of the consumer, and also set the tension. The mounts come out of the box. The pull down ones come out of the box with a weight of about 60 pounds is the tension setting. The bolt in the middle on the arm structure, in the 700 there's just one, in the 540 there's just one, in the 340 there's just one because it's two pairs of struts that you're managing. In the 750 there's two tension adjustments because there's two sets of struts. But it's right for a heavier TV and lefty loosey, righty tighty, lighter TV to the left, heavier TV to the right. And the ideal thing, of course, what you're trying to do is set that tension so that it will stop anywhere along the travel route and meets the consumer's taste. We've never had a claim filed for damage to a TV near a fireplace. One of the reasons we don't get a claim is that the handles of the mounts have a rubberized coating and they turn red at 110 degrees. On the automated mount, if it gets to 110 degrees, it automatically retracts. Now we're going to get into the robotic mount, which, by the way, at this point represents 40% of our revenue on the wholesale side and about 22% of unit sales. From a selling merit standpoint, the 700 is about 60% of sales, the 860, 22, and then the balance of 12 in the 750. So this is our third automated product, and like the expression goes, third time's the charm. We've made a number of improvements since the first two models. The most important one was a faster processor and putting the electronics on the arm structure for easier access. It's a $19.99 MSRP and UMAP. That gives an awful lot of gross profit dollars to you and, of course, the dealers. It has a very wide range of motion. It clears a 19-inch mantle. It has an RF remote in the box, an IR port, so you can add an IR receiver for Harmony remotes or URC. All the drivers for any brand that you work with, Control4, Crestron, Savant, etc., are both hosted on their control sites as well as on our site. I'm not going to read every feature here, but what you'll notice there's a few other motorized mounts on the market. And the one thing that we do that most of the other ones do not, and certainly not at a $2,000 price point, is not only do we do the downward travel, but we also handle swivel automatically through the remote or through the controls. Right now, about half customers are just using the RF remote out of the box, and the other half are using whatever control system is in their home already used. This is a picture of the brain of the mount, and it's a pretty intuitive one. You can address it via Ethernet or on IP if you connect the unit to a server on site. It has an ALPS sensor, so sometimes you don't even need the remote. So when the TV is turned on, it senses the power. It comes down to position 1, whatever the installer has set position 1 to be. And when the TV is turned off, it retracts automatically. As I said, there's all of the drivers are written and hosted by these brands. And let's talk about selling strategies, both you to your dealers and dealers to their consumers. We have all sorts of collateral, and at the end of this deck, you'll have my contact information. Let me know how many of these packets you'd like per location. We'll get those out right away. It'll include a thumb drive that has the demo videos. I'm going to say this probably 8 times before the day's over, but the most important thing is for this brand to be exposed to clients. If they have a showroom, we have a showroom demo program. If they don't have a showroom, we have certainly demonstration videos they should put on their tablet or whatever they use to show their clients. That showroom demo is a pass-through to you as the distributor. The dealer buys it from you, installs it, shows you the picture. You credit them, I credit you. But we'll get into more of that later. I can't overemphasize that this is a product that will sell 5 times faster if it's demonstrated. This is just a repeat of that thought. And again, we have both demo videos that can go on a tablet as well as a showroom demo, physical demos for both your locations as well as your dealer's locations. A little bit about accessories. We have about 12 accessories in the whole line card. Some are more important than others. Over here on the far right, this image of the AB40, that's a pre-construction metal mounting piece where you don't have to use the back plate. So if you have a nice decorative brick and you don't want to interrupt any more of that profile is about 8 by 11. It's about the size of a sheet of paper. And then it just marries up to the arm and you can secure it. Obviously, the AB40 has to be secured to studs or something enough where there's enough holding to support the tension and the weight. The SSB40 is needed with the consumer SKUs, the 340 and the 540. The AB40 marries up to the 700 automatically and no additional accessories required. I'm sure you're familiar with the conduit rotators. Those are included in the 700 box as well as the 750 and 860 box. The recessed box we talked about before, which marries up to the MM700 with the 750 and 860, obviously it's included. And the mounting protocols for our recessed boxes, there's cross braces you can use. The mount itself has plenty of connection points and holes. It really just depends whether they want to build their own box or cross brace across spanning studs. The AB40 also has a second use. We call it a horizontal adapter. And you take the back plate that you would normally use as a back wall plate and you can lay it like on a bookshelf, or some of the older homes have where they had a TV in an alcove. And you can set that there and center the mount using that accessory. As I said before, we were really surprised to learn on these larger mounts, the 750 and 860, that some folks were surface mounting it. And it's a very ugly profile from the wall. It's like 5.5 inches. And the flanges were showing. So enough people were doing that we built a little dressing kit called the SK50. It's a $100 adder to the sale. And it just simply hides the flange. And of course, it's paintable if someone's so inclined. On the 860 and 750s, it's a really big box. It's 14 by 28. It's meant to be going into a stud bay. You can build your own framing for it. You can use the cross braces, or of course you can mount it if the stud happens to be right next to it. It also works with metal studs as well. This is some information on the 860 of how you address the mount, the application, the GUI application that's available to download. And the most important thing that seems to be coming up is with the new frame TVs. They go into an art mode, so they don't really turn off. And so you have to change the ALPS setting, this power sensing, so that the automatic retraction happens even though there's a small draw of power as the art slides go. But all of that is available on the on-screen menu. Now we're going to talk about what's really I'm very excited about. We don't sell the motorized mount to direct to consumers. In fact, we don't even host the 750 direct to consumers. We do sell the 700 direct to consumers from time to time. It's not a big part of the direct to consumer division sales. Maybe it's less than 4% of that they do most of their business in the 340 and 540. But we get a lot of customers asking about the motorized mount because we've gotten a lot of good press. And when we get that lead, we call you the distributor, and we've vetted the customer a little bit. We know a little bit about their application, their case use, the time when they intend to do the job, and then we give you that information, and then you get to give that to any dealer that you want to. We hope that you give it to someone who can do a good job, obviously, but the point is you get the sale and the dealer gets the sale. And we've done about 100 of those, and it's worked out very, very well. Now, we do ask that your dealers register with us, and that's so we can A, send them information directly, and B, based on a zip code search on the website, customers can find them. We certainly want them to buy from you, and that's why we've engaged with you. And I will tell you, on the wholesale side of the fence, about 76% of our business comes from distributors. And the reason why is every time we sign up a new dealer, we send that dealer a welcome email with all the attachments of sales collateral that they need. We copy in the distributor, and we introduce the dealer to the distributor. We do ship direct to dealers from two 3PL points, one in Ontario, California, and one in Louisville, Kentucky. But you do a better job of A, honoring the dealer price, and B, you save them time and money on the shipping. So we make an active effort to send you customers. And when we finish this call, I'm going to be sending Rick our list of independent dealers who, for whatever reason, in your markets are buying from us directly, and then we'll follow up with an email to those same dealers introducing your new locations to the Mantel Mount family, and we'll transition some of those customers to you as well. We don't refuse a sale from a dealer, but we, at every opportunity, try to turn that over to a distributor.
Sure, that's great. That's kind of been our thing with the Snap AV acquisition too, because now they have multiple points to buy, and our motto is whatever's the most convenient for them. But like you said, we've got shipping programs so they can combine the mounts with the flat panels themselves or with other products that we sell to get free freight and to get things like courier delivery and things like that we offer. So,
Yeah.
and also, Bill, I just wanted to remind you, we have a bunch of dealers on this call. So this is a dealer call as well as our distribution staff.
Thank you. Thank you for that context.
Okay, cool.
These are some support contacts. Most things can just go to me, but I travel about 60% of the time. I do all the distributor shows and things like that. October's a crazy month for that. So I'll need to know your dates. But Anna works for me, and she happens to be the wife of one of the owners, and she's very good at distributor support. Remy is we have a number of people in tech department who take tech calls. Remy's sort of dedicated for the distributors, and he's also our best, and he's really good at the 860. So if you ever have any questions about that, he's really a good go-to. Accounting, Desiree Brown. Brian Glass handles all of the ops and shipping and logistics stuff, and Jill is your marketing contact, who I'd love to connect with your marketing contact. And then there's a Dropbox there for you can find all sorts of collateral. But as I said, I'll be sending you hard and soft copies at the end of this call. And anybody who would like to have that sent to them directly, soft copy, just email me and I'll send you the distributor folder as well as some key documents. I think the most important thing I can cover once again is the demo deal. So we do a BOGO, right? So let's say a dealer buys two MM700s from you, and one of those two goes in their showroom. They take a picture of that and they send that to you, and you send it to me. I credit you at dealer price, and you credit them at the dealer price they paid. And once they do that, they're going to sell 5 times as many Mantel Mounts as the ones who don't have that opportunity to demo. The videos are very effective for folks who don't have showrooms, but there's nothing like seeing this thing in action. A lot of customers just don't know the solution exists. With that, I'll open up my screen here and see what questions we have.
Okay, so the most popular question is, how do we calculate what mantle it will clear, what mantle the product will clear, and how to select the correct product for different size mantles and different size panels?
That's a great question, and it is the most frequent call to the customer service line. In every manual, and our manuals are pretty extensive, there's a grid, and it explains the mounts come out. They don't come out at 90 degrees and then drop 90 degrees. They come out in an arcing pattern. And so the grid, and I'll send it to you as a follow-up from the end of this call, Rick, and then you can distribute it out. We have a cheat sheet on this, but on the fifth page of every instruction manual, you'll look in how big the mantle is. Is it 10 inches? Is it 8 inches? Is it 6? And then based on that, it tells you how high above the mantle the bottom of the TV should be. So then the customer has to do, or the dealer, the installer has to do a little bit of math about the VESA pattern and that kind of thing, and understand where that TV, or if they're using a sound bar, which would be the bottom of the unit, where that would be. And so if they follow that, it will tell them exactly how far up to go so that they can clear the mantle. And it's pretty clear. The first time you might take 10 minutes to figure it out, and then after that it becomes very easy. But as an example, any mount that's a mantle that's 8 inches or less, which is the vast majority, it's only a 3-inch riser from the bottom of the unit. But there's a grid, and I'll send it out. It'll be much more clear once I send that to you.
Perfect. Is this something we can put on the screen? Well, we can tackle the next questions.
Find it real quick. I don't have the file at my fingertips, and I don't want to
we
around
can,
and waste your time.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay. The next question that comes up, you mentioned sound bars. So there was a question in here about sound bars. If you have to hang Sonos or something like the Leon or the Klipsch that's customized,
Yeah.
Some of those have their own proprietary soundbar bracket that hangs off the bottom of usually an articulating, single arm, dual arm, whatever.
Yes.
So is that the same solution that we would use on the bottom of a mantle mount?
Yes and no. So the sound bar bracket that comes in the kit only goes up to 29-inch sound bars, and that's and the Sonos, which is a very popular play bar, right? It's a very popular product. That unique hardware that they sell, I think they sell for $29, will marry up with ours, but they do need to add that accessory. We also sell, and you may already have it in your assortment because it's a pretty popular accessory across multiple lines. I call them hockey sticks. They're about 18 inches long, and they bend. So they're sound bar extensions, and those help with those larger sound bars. And that is something else I could probably put up on the screen pretty quick here.
Okay. Yeah, we sell that product as well.
You're familiar with it. Yeah, so
and the question is the ones that have custom depth adjustment. So like Triad, Leon, etc. in Klipsch Heritage, they have custom width sound bars that you can order it to be the exact specific width of the television.
yes.
And you can also adjust the depth so that the grill is as flush as possible with the bezel of the television.
The bezel,
so that it looks like it's part of the television. But in this case, that means it sticks back a little bit more, which means that we have to navigate that clearance arc again.
So the management from our perspective is we provide a series of spacers in the hardware box that comes with every mount. And so you could theoretically use enough spacers so that you can accommodate most of that length. Now, obviously, there's a limit because the bolts are only so long. So if it was really extreme, there'd have to be some sort of different solution. But probably 85% of the use cases are handled by the hardware in the box.
Okay. So the next question that comes up is, let's say that the soundbar does create a little bit of a calculation anomaly with the grid. Is there any way to, after the mount is lagged into the structure, to move it up to gain additional clearance, or does it have to be remounted altogether?
Afraid it's a remount. Yeah. So that whole expression, measure twice, cut once.
Okay.
It applies in this case.
Okay.
I think the follow-up document that I send you, Rick, will be very helpful to that question. I apologize for not having it handy.
Oh, no worries. Okay. All right. The next question that comes up, can you put back in the slide deck, put the MSRP prices back up for the different models again?
Sure.
And then I can share this. So for each of you who have a login, like in our case to the AllNet distributing site, or in the case of Voluton MRI Custom Plus, if you have your login, you can check your dealer pricing using your login. These are archived videos, so we don't really want to put wholesale pricing up because it's going to eventually be on YouTube, and Mantel Mount is a keyword that'll probably pop up in a lot of YouTube searches for people looking for Mantel Mounts videos. We don't
Yeah.
necessarily want them
Got
seeing
it.
this video.
I'll scrub this and send you an updated one if that's okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
No
It's
worries.
hard to read here, but I'll give you just the MSRP. So the 340 is a 229 MSRP, and it's really never advertised below. I think the lowest I've ever seen it's 199. It's a very tiny margin skew. The 540 gets bounced around a lot, so the MSRP is 399, but I'll tell you that the prevailing retail is 349, and once in a while it's 299, and it's more 299 these days than not. The rest of the line is very predictable. The 700 is either 549 or 499 with no exception, and we do enforce that. The 750, 899, same thing. It's a UMAP price, and the motorized is 1999. And so, not only because of performance and predictability, but from a profit standpoint, dealers are well advised to stay with the Pro Series product.
Sure, for feature set and also for the fact that it's sheltered SKUs. Perfect.
Yes, right.
Okay. All right. So the next question that popped up was, you mentioned the swivel function. You can adjust limits or lock it out altogether.
Yes.
That was with it looked like you used a socket to do that,
Yeah. So
or
the socket,
was
no, the
that for the
socket's for
setting
the
the
tension.
tension
The
for the
tension.
drop down?
All the rest of them are Allen wrench adjustments, and there's on the plate that the TV hangs on, the swivel mechanism has 2 points where basically a screw comes out to a varying distances, and it restricts the amount of the swivel of that head. Again, as a follow-up item, I'll show that I'll add a slide that shows that detail.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that seems like that would be
Yeah.
an elegant solution that's mechanical. So once
Yeah.
it's set, it's done.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
And
All right.
our
So
advice.
I guess I didn't understand it. I thought it was like setting the tension. So
Yeah. Well, the tension is that
now
bolt
I
in the
understand.
middle.
There's just physical stops that we can set. Perfect.
Yeah. The tension is a singular, very long bolt. It's about 9 inches, right on the center of the arm structure between the two gas struts, and it's a singular bolt on the 700 model down, and on the 750 it's 2 bolts along the arm structure, and those are the ones where you would turn it left for a lighter TV and right for a heavier TV to increase or decrease the tension. The obviously the 860 it's actuators, so that's a non-issue.
Okay, perfect. All right. Are there any TVs that are not recommended?
The only way I would answer that question is smaller TVs, right? Because um, it needs something to, the TVs are so light, so much lighter these days, right? And so the gas struts need something to pull against. And so we've had scenarios where someone has a TV that's, 30 pounds, and they move the tension all the way over to the left for the lightest TV, and they're still having a hard time getting it to come down and stay down. So, and there's 2 things wrong with those smaller TVs. One, because of the size of the TV, you can see the hardware behind it. It's not cosmetically appealing in the back box application. And they have to add weights to get the tension right. And we don't sell weights. We probably should. It doesn't come up very often, but again, TVs in the 25 to 30 pound range are just, there's not enough weight to engage the gas struts.
Okay, perfect. All right. In the slide deck, we saw what looked like an outdoor application. Is there a specific model, like in our mount series and a lot of the traditional mounts, they have a specific series for outdoor with like different powder coating or stainless fasteners, things like that. Is there a specific model in your line that you recommend for outdoor use?
No. So we're not rated for outdoor. Everything's powder coated, but remember we have ball joints and we have a lot of moving parts, which makes it somewhat unique, right? And so over time, weather will erode the ball joints and things like that. Now, if it's a covered patio, you know, uh, you're not going to have rust issues. But over time, there might be a ball joint failure. Now, when a ball joint fails, it doesn't drop off the wall. It's not a safety concern. It just stops functioning. So our official answer is it's not rated for outdoor use. What I can tell you is we saw an awful lot in Florida that are used outdoor, and
Okay.
I'm not at liberty to talk about the roadmap yet, but I can tell you it's on our radar.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully we'll make plans to stop by the booth at Cedia.
there you go. There you go.
Okay.
That would be
All
about
right.
right.
Okay. All right. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them in. I think we've gotten everything that was brought up so far. Let me look. Let me look at my chat. Sometimes I get stuff sent straight to my phone or straight to my email. Yeah, I didn't have anything other than what was already posted. Okay. All right. I think we've covered anything. Is there anything else you'd like to elaborate on that we talked about earlier?
No, I would be guilty of being redundant about the showroom demos, so I'll stop. But I'll just tell you, it's good for your business and it's good for our business if you can assert, both in the places where you have folks that pick up product and you have products to show. We would give you a mount for free for demonstration purposes, and we certainly want you to take full advantage of the pass-through credit to the dealers who do the same thing.
Okay. Well, just to be clear, you're talking about us, right? So the dealers, there's a BOGO program for the dealers, and
Yes,
then okay, all right,
and it passes through you,
perfect.
or we'll do it, but we'd prefer it
Okay,
go through you. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and we have showrooms with Will Call
Yes.
in all over the country now with the
Right.
four of us
Yes.
and growing. By the way, there's an announcement to come, but I can't speak on it.
Well, I
So
understood.
yeah.
Understood.
So yeah, we definitely have places that our dealers who do not have showroom capability can bring customers in.
Yeah.
So for those in the AllNet area, these are not on display at this moment. A couple of our locations are being uh, like I'm in Michigan and we're moving in 30 days, so we're not putting any new displays up until we're in the new place.
Yes.
So, but
Okay.
I think I'm pretty confident that we're going to have the Mantel mount on display in some fashion. So,
Fair
because like
enough.
you said, it's something that it has to be shown, it has to be seen. So,
Yeah.
question popped up. Can you elaborate on automating the Samsung frame? What were the steps on that? And
So
is there
so
like
you
a
would
cut sheet or a one sheet to describe that particular process?
so the I'll make that item 4 on my list of follow-ups to the call, and I'll send that, add that to the deck and resend it to you, Rick. But the short version is the installer or dealer would download from our site the GUI program for programming the Mantel mount. And in one of those steps, there's a Alps setting, which you would change. In this case, you would raise the turnoff function from 0 voltage, right, to about 15, I believe it is, to match the draw that the TV pulls power-wise when it's in its standby art frame mode. So that when the TV senses that it's at that level of draw, which is much lower than when it's on and operating, it will auto retract if that feature is important to your client.
Yeah, I will say we sell a lot of Samsung frame product,
Yeah.
and I know, having gone out to a bunch of job sites for our dealers, um, it's definitely the product of choice to put over the mantle.
Yes.
And like you said, it's a suboptimal location for a fixed or a tilt mount. And most of the time, you're not using a tilt mount on a frame anyway, because it needs to be tight
Right.
to the wall, and they ship it with a really tight flat frame. But if we wanted to use it as a high performance TV, which it also is, we could drop it down using your product, and then you still get the benefit of being artwork when it's
Yeah.
not a TV. So you don't have, like the Samsung, their pitch is, when a TV is off, you have a 70-inch, 75-inch, 85-inch black
Right.
black window on your
Right.
wall, and there's not an interior designer on the planet that says, I like the way that looks.
Well, I'll tell you what,
So
I'll do two things. I'll add it to the deck, and if I think we have a demo video of this process, and if we don't, we'll make one and I'll send that out.
cool. Okay. So yeah, I think that I think this can kind of make everyone happy. So it can get that artwork TV that disappears when it's not on,
Right.
and then it can also, it can be our our solution for the performance-minded person who wants, the TV closer to ideal height, and then, the new frames are QLED, so
Yes.
it's a good TV.
Yep.
So cool. Yeah, I think it's a good solution. I think uh, it'll set a lot of our dealers apart versus, what their customers who are shopping might find from retail. They probably won't find that customized solution from a lot of retail competition. So that's what we're all about, is helping our dealers have a better mousetrap to offer to, close more deals and close better deals.
All right. So I have four follow-up things for back to you, Rick, and clean up the MSRP presentation in the deck, an illustration of how to do the stops on the swivel,
Okay,
the calculation of how to determine where to put the mount relative to the size of a mantle, and then the reference to the Alps setting on the 860. Is that about right?
perfect.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
All right, and then I'll share that with everyone who's on the call today.
Fair enough.
So I've got the registration link in the software.
Yeah,
It gave me everyone's email. So if
great.
your email that you use to register is what you'd like for follow up, you have to do nothing. If you want it sent to someone else, just shoot me a note and I'll forward it on to whoever you'd like. So for anyone in the call, if you want it to go to other members of your staff, your project manager, your lead install, whomever, just send me the link and I'll be happy to add them on that distribution. So give us, we think, Bill, like a week to put all
Oh,
this stuff together.
yeah. I'll make Monday my death date on that. We're here at the trade show through Thursday. I'll get it
Okay.
done Friday and out to you by Monday. Okay.
Well, you and I have a call on Monday with our staff, so
Yeah.
that'll be
So
fine. We can just follow
by the
up and
time that call takes place, I'll have the new deck. So we'll use the new deck for that.
perfect.
All
All
right.
right. Well, Bill, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you
Everyone
for
on the
the
call, I want to
opportunity.
thank you for joining us today, and we're looking forward to working with Mantel Mount. And I'm glad to hear that it's been a successful product for our sister companies. So, um, on
We
behalf of everyone
appreciate
at
your
Element and
support
everyone
and
at Snap AV and all of our sister companies, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And once again, thank you very much, Bill, for taking the time to do the presentation. Hope you have a great show and safe travels, and I hope you feel better soon.
thanks. Same to you. Bye bye
All right.
now.
All right. Thanks, everyone.